Okay, good evening, everybody. Again, you can't answer me because you're all muted, but good evening anyways. All right, so this is our third and final, but that's probably not a good way to describe it. Our third and final class in this series. There is a lot more to learn about tefillah than what we've covered. Needless to say, there's a whole lot more. There's a whole lot more there that we haven't even started scratching the surface. Okay. So we started a few weeks ago by discussing that tefillah is a masuman. It's this negotiation, right? There's a back and forth that goes on between us and Hashem, and the only way that you can have a negotiation is if there is some type of common goal. So we said that that Hashem cares about us, He's concerned, and therefore we quote unquote share this common goal. And to show that tefillah starts in the morning with hakaras hatov. It starts with gratitude. And then last week we discussed that it's not just a masuman, it's not just this back and forth that we have, but there is a real love. That Hashem cares about what we care about, right? And that tefillah is more than just hishtadlus. It's more than just the same way that in order to have money, I have to go out and I have to work. Tefillah is much more than that. It's much more than that. We spoke about Nefesh HaChaim, that it's the avodah shebalev. It has to come from the heart, and that's basically what we spoke about last week. So I want to focus this week on Shmona Esrei, which is the Iker Tefillah. The main Tefillah we have is Shmona Esrei. That is the main Tefillah. That is the primary Tefillah we have. Shmona Esrei. So, and we talked about last week. We talked about kavanah. What kavanah? We talked about kavanah is twofold. One is that I'm omed lifnei hamelech. I'm standing in front of the king who has the ability to help me with everything, every help that I possibly could need, and who gives me everything that I have. And then I have to focus on pirush hamilim. I have to focus on what I'm saying. Pay attention to what I'm saying, which sounds, think about it for a second. It sounds almost ridiculous. We're having a conversation, and I want you to pay attention to what you're saying. Do I need to tell you that? Do I? No? Do we ever have conversations where we're not paying attention to what we're saying? I don't know. Do we ever have a conversation we're not paying attention to what we're saying? All the time. Right? All the time. Right? All the time. We do it all the time. So here, I'm standing in front of Hashem. I should pay attention. I should pay attention to what I'm saying. How do we start Shmona Esrei? How do we start? So there are two things we do before Shmona Esrei that are not part of Shmona Esrei. One is we take 3 steps forward. Now, when I was going to take 3 steps back and take 3 steps forward, you actually don't have to take 3 steps back. But on a practical level, most of us need to take 3 steps back in order to take 3 steps forward. Right? So we take 3 steps forward. What does that signify? What's the significance of taking 3 steps forward? So when you take steps forward, you're approaching. You're not there. You're approaching something. So it puts us in a mindset. Meaning, generally speaking, certainly let's focus on Shachris for a second. That's what we've been primarily speaking about, but it's not exclusive to Shachris. It applies to in the afternoon, it applies to in the evening, it applies to all of our tefillahs. Right? Generally speaking, we don't just stand up and say Shmona Esrei. Right? There's a preparation. there's a lead up to it. There's something that happens first, and then I begin. Yet, even with that, even with the preparation, and again, the preparation, we said, I have this masaman, I have this exchange, this negotiation that's going on. I have said these brachas of akar zatov, of expressing my gratitude in detail for what Hashem gives me. I have said psukei de zimra, these words of praise, and now I'm starting Shemona Esrei, and I take 3 steps forward. Why? Because now what I have done up until now is a build-up. It is preparation for what I'm about to do, because now is the real, quote-unquote, conversation. Now is when the masu matan, that exchange, really takes place. And then what do I say before I start Shemona Esrei? Hashem sfasai tiftach. Hashem, please open my lips, upi agi tilasecha, and allow my mouth to say your praises. Now, why did you take 3 steps forward? Why did you take 3 steps forward? Because you're about to start Shemona Esrei. So what's Shemona Esrei? It's a tefillah, which means you have to articulate it. It has to be said. So why are you asking Hashem? Hashem sfasai tiftach. Hashem, open my mouth. Why am I starting there? What else am I going to do? Take out a deck of cards, start dealing? Like what am I going to do? Why am I saying Hashem sfasai tiftach? Why am I starting there? So let's think about masu matan, negotiation. You have a negotiation. You have a negotiation. You always know what to say. Words always come out correctly. You have an important meeting right now. You know what you want out of the meeting. Before you walked into the meeting, you know what you want out of that meeting. You know exactly what you want out of the meeting. Do you always know what to say? Do you always know how to say it? Do the words always come out correctly? Nope. They don't. How often after, there's an important discussion we're supposed to have, and we're just kicking ourselves right afterwards because I forgot to say this, and I should have said that. And boy, I wish I would have done this. But I was invited to be part of a discussion, a rabbinic discussion, about 10 days ago, and some things were said during the discussion that I disagreed with. I disagreed with what was said, but I don't know the people. I knew it was about 15, 18 rabbis on the Zoom meeting, and I knew 3 or 4 of them. Generally speaking, I feel like I'm entitled to my opinion, and everybody else is also entitled to my opinion. You all might not know that about me, right? But again, that's kind of a, something that it speaks to me. So I actually didn't say what I was thinking, but I was bothered. I was bothered by something that was said, almost to the extent I felt like offended, and I don't know why I was feeling offended, because it wasn't directed at me, but I was really bothered by it. So I sent an email to the person who organized this and said how much I disagreed with it. I'm not comfortable if I should send it out, I shouldn't send it out. And he said, no, you should send it out. The message is a great message, you should send it out. So I sent it out as and I sent out things like, I couldn't disagree more. And I spoke it out in a strong language. And I don't know these people. I don't know them, but I said it very strong. And after I sent the email, like a few hours later, I'm like, I could have said, perhaps there's another way to look at this. I could have totally changed the tone of it. Now, it happens to be my chavrusa, Weiner was a Rabbi in Cincinnati. He's also on this list. I said, "Do you see the email I sent?" I said, "Yeah." And he's quiet for a second. I said, "It's too stark, right? Too strong." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "No, but it was good. It was good." And I'm like, "Okay, stop trying to make me feel good. Like it was too strong." Like so how often? And this I put thought into this. Like I put thought into this. I asked someone else about it, and boom, and I was like, you know what? I could have done it differently. So we say to Hashem, Hashem sfasai tiftach. Even just again, if I stop and think about what am I about to do right now? I'm standing in front of the Melech Malchei Amlachim, in front of the King of Kings, who created the world and created me and gives me everything and sustains me. And I have needs. I have a lot of needs. So there's a sense that I could just clam up. I could be afraid to express anything. And also I want to be able to express it correctly and properly. So Hashem, Sfasai Tiftach. I take 3 steps. I'm approaching you, Hashem, with awe and with reverence and with love. And I say, Hashem, Sfasai Tiftach. Hashem, help me that I should be able to say what I want to say correctly, appropriately, properly. Now, Shmona Esrei is divided into 3 basic parts. There are 3 basic parts of Shmona Esrei. The beginning is Shavach, is praise. Those are the first 3 brachos. Praise, Bakasha, that I'm asking, and then Hodah, I'm thanking. Shavach, Bakasha, and Hodah. I'm praising you, Hashem, which is very much a continuation of how our earlier tefillah started, but now it's real. And then I'm asking, why is it necessary to ask? Why do I have to ask Hashem? If we just got finished saying that Hashem cares about me, and what's important to me is important to Hashem, why do I have to ask? Why is that important? Okay, that's question 1. Question 2, which is a question, but I'm not really going to form it as a question. And that is, I will form it as a question. Being that tefillah is an expression of emunah, why do I have to ask? Okay, so it's really a second part of that question. Why do I have to ask in general? And if tefillah is an expression of emunah, it's an expression of a belief in Hashem, then why do I have to ask? And that tefillah is an expression of emunah. What is emunah? What does that mean? When we talk about that tefillah is an expression of emunah, what does that mean? Okay. The Ramban, Leuchter quotes this. The Ramban says that when we daven, what are we doing when we're davening and we're asking Hashem? So we ask Hashem, I'll do 2 things which should resonate with everybody right now. We ask Hashem for parnasa, and we ask Hashem for health. Okay? 2 things that should resonate with everyone right now. If that does not resonate with you, then please let me know what world you're living in right now, because I'd like to go there. Okay? So we ask Hashem for parnasa, for livelihood, and for health. Now, why do I have to ask for those things? Why is it? So the Ramban says that in tefillah, a person is chayev lahamin. You have an obligation to believe that Hashem listens to your tefillah, cares about what you're asking for, and answers your tefillah. Okay? That he listens and he answers, which by definition means he cares. He listens, that's the emunah is that Hashem listens, he listens, and he answers. Now, there is something called emunah pshuta. Emunah pshuta. Just a few minutes ago, my wife and I made a shiva call. That used to mean that you actually went to visit someone, and now it means you call. But this actually, they don't live here. They don't live here, and it was a shiva call that has nothing to do with coronavirus. Okay? So many of you know Yosef Kaufman. So Yosef Kaufman is married to a wonderful woman named Rachel. So Rachel's grandmother passed away. So we're like almost like mechutanim with her parents. So we called Rachel's mother, Chani Channels. We called Rachel's mother to pay a shiva call, and she was speaking about her mother, who we were privileged to know. And this was a very special woman. Not necessarily the most educated, not the most educated woman in the world, but a very special woman who lived with Hashem. She lived with Hashem. She always felt close to Hashem. She was always thanking Hashem, and she just lived with Hashem. That's called emunah pshuta. I don't have to be able to answer every difficult question about free will and how Hashem runs the world, but I can open my eyes and I can see that in this complex, beautiful world, there's a creator who's involved with the world. There's a creator who's involved with me, who cares about me. That's emunah pshuta. That's what it is. That's what, when I go into tefillah, that's what I'm striving for. I'm striving for a level of emunah where I recognize Hashem in my life. I don't have to have an answer to every question. But when I recognize Hashem in my life, you know what? The questions go by the wayside. I'm not bothered by the question. Now, why do I have to ask? I have to ask because that's the greatest expression of this emunah pshuta. What am I asking for? So we said parnasa, health, whatever's on the list. Why am I asking? Years ago I gave a series in tefillah, and I used what I call my Home Depot example. Any of you shop at Home Depot ever? Go to Home Depot? Home Depot's got everything, right? Home Depot's got everything. So they have good customer service. Yeah, they have good customer service. They have everything. You ever go into Home Depot and ask them for milk? Any of you? Some of you shop at Home Depot, and none of you ever went into Home Depot to ask for milk. Why not? Because they don't sell milk at Home Depot. Because they don't sell milk at Home Depot. So if they don't sell milk at Home Depot, and I walk into Home Depot and I ask them for milk, what am I? I'm a fool. Right? I'm a fool. What statement am I making when I ask Hashem for my parnasa, for my health, for my seichel, for my mind, for tshuva, to remove the adversaries. What statement am I making? I'm making a very simple, powerful statement. That what? That Hashem, you have the ability to deal with all of this. Every question that I've asked, you have the ability to deal with. Because if you didn't, why am I asking? Why am I asking? That's the Emunah Pshuta. That's why I have to ask. I have to ask because of the connection that we have, because Hashem cares about it, and because we have to know what our relationship is. We have to know what that relationship is. You know, every parent jokes about their children asking them for money. Right? We all joke about it. But what if they would never ask us for anything? What if that child would never ask us for anything? How would we feel? Way down in the dumps. Right? Way down in the dumps. Why? Because if you're asking me for nothing, what does that mean? You don't think too highly of me. There's a flaw. There's a crack in the relationship. So Hashem is Avinu Avarachaman. He's our Father, our merciful Father. Of course we have to ask Him. That's the Emunah. That's the critical ingredient. Now, I don't just walk in, slam the door open, right? Throw the door open and say, give me this. Because that's called chutzpah. What do? I start by praising Hashem. Because He needs the praise? No, because I need to praise Hashem. Then I ask. And then I thank. Modim anachnu lach. We thank you, Hashem. We thank you. So this tefillah is the greatest expression. It's the greatest expression of our emunah. Right? And it's again, it's not an emunah where I can answer every question. And I know there are people thinking, but I have questions in emunah. I have questions. I have questions on how everything works. You know what? The mitzvah of emunah is v'hashevos el levavecha. It eventually has to come back to the heart. It can start here, but it has to be v'hashevos el levavecha. I have to bring it to my heart. I have to bring it inside of me. That's the challenge. It's not about that I could answer every single question and that's what makes me this greatest miner. No. It's that I have this emunah and there might be questions that I can't answer. And you know what? I'm still going to daven mincha. I'm still going to keep my connection. I'm still going to show this expression of the closeness that we have. You know, it's fascinating. Are human beings simple or complex? Well, I'll give you a hint. We're not simple. We're not simple. The people you're closest to, do you have questions about them? Questions about why they do certain things? Does that destroy a relationship? Again, if they're doing certain things to you, it could, but it doesn't. It doesn't. When it comes to Hashem, sometimes we get so focused on the trees, we forget the forest. We forget everything that's there. The tefillah has to be this deep expression of our emunah. Again, by turning to Hashem and saying, Ata chonin la'adam das, Hashem, you put wisdom in the mind of a person. Chanenu mi'itcha dea bina maskel. Allow me understanding. Right? Allow me the wisdom. Bring me close to your Torah. Right? Fight my battles. Heal me. Give me parnasa. The people who are out, tekaba shofar gadol cheruseinu. Blow the shofar like we need redemption. All the things that we ask for. It's an incredible, again, we often don't think about it. What am I saying? I'm saying how much I believe in you. In the truest sense. That's the expression of emunah. That's why I have to ask. That's why tefillah, if it never has in it bakasha, if it never has in it asking, is severely lacking. It's a tefillah that's lacking. Now again, there are certain times we don't ask. So when we can't ask, we can't ask. But if I never ask, if I don't ask when I'm supposed to, then it's a terrible chisara, a terrible lacking in my tefillah, because what does it mean? It means that I don't really think that you could help. I don't really think that you're the source. When I recognize it, and I say, oh, Hashem, you are the source. And you know what? What's important to me, truly important to me, is important to you. You want this masumatan. You want this negotiation. It doesn't have to come out exactly the way that I want it. You negotiate for something, a deal. How often do you get the exact terms that you want? Not usually. Not usually, but does that mean you're not happy with the result if you didn't get the exact terms? No. You could be very happy with the result. You could be very happy with the result, even though you're not getting everything you want. You're not getting it, but you could still be happy with it. It could still work out for you. That's the mas. Again, we started with the tefillas of masumat. We have this common goal with Hashem. Recognize that. We have the common goal. So of course I should ask. Right? Of course I should ask. If I'm working for you and you give me an assignment, right? You give me an assignment to do, and I tell you, okay, and you give me a certain assignment, and I need certain resources to get it done. And I never asked you for the resources, and I don't get it done. Okay? What's going to be the result of that? I should get fired. I should get fired. Why? Because I didn't ask you for what was obvious that I needed to get it done. And had I asked you, you would have said, of course, here you go, get it done. That's the bakasha. And then we thank Hashem. Then we thank Hashem. And if you really want to change your tefillah, you really want to change your tefillah, every day when you say modim, think about at least one, but maybe two or three things that you're truly thankful for right now. Think about a few things. You stop and think about it. Don't say the same things every day. Think about something different. Think about something good that happened today. And thank Hashem for it. All of a sudden, what do you realize? It's a relationship. And you know what? I've asked for things and I've gotten them. Because Hashem cares. He loves me. He wants the relationship. And it's there. And when we pay attention, we have the right kavanah in the tefillah. We recognize who we're speaking to. We pay attention to what we're saying. We have this give and take with Hashem. All of a sudden, we realize, you know what? I have a beautiful relationship right now. I have something that's very special. Is it difficult to keep this up day in and day out? Yes, it is. But part of the reason that it's difficult to keep it up because we're not paying attention. And I'm saying this to me. We're not paying attention. If we pay attention, we stop and think. And you know what? It's not, I want to say this. I want to say this very clearly. Okay? It's not all or nothing. Okay? I want to say this very clearly. It's not all or nothing. I want to say this very clearly. It's not all or nothing. Okay? I'll say it one more time. It's not all or nothing. It doesn't mean if I can't stay focused from that first minute of davening until the very end, it was worthless. Not true. Let's go back to this. If you stop for a minute and pay attention, is that worthless? And then you go right back to doing this. Is that worthless? It's not worthless. Is it the greatest thing in the world? No. No. But this concept, this Yetzer Hara concept that I have to bat 1,000, and if I don't bat 1,000, I failed, is just that. It's just Yetzer Hara. It's not all or nothing. It's a relationship. Relationship, tefillah is the expression of the relationship. It's the expression of the, not to cheapen it or to belittle it. If I approach it in all or nothing, you know what? I don't want to offend any of you. So just pretend like I'm saying this to the next person. If you approach it as all or nothing, you're going to fail. Not you, the other person. So don't approach it as all or nothing. It's not all or nothing. It's not. It's about building. It's about recognizing your small victories, which are not small. Because what's that small victory? That small victory is an expression of your emunah. So is there something small about that? There's incredible value to that. Celebrate that small victory. Keep working. I'm not giving anyone that, a dispensation that it's okay if you stop trying. Right? I'm not giving you that. You're not putter. But don't, if you don't bat 1,000, it's okay. Right? Just keep working at it. Okay. I'm going to open up for questions. You are welcome to unmute yourself and ask questions. Or not.
So I really like the point that you make about paying attention. And then there's the part, because sometimes when I'm praying and you get to the part where you can just add your own things, and sometimes it doesn't always come out the way that I want it to be, to say what I want. So it's really nice to know that there's this whole script that I can say, and then I can ask Hashem, and maybe Hashem really knows what I mean, because I think he does, but I may not always say it the right way. So I think that's really an important point that got to me. It's that, I have this whole script, so to speak, to talk to Hashem, but I also have a part where I can say my own, and no, I don't always say it perfectly.
Right. Yep.
So how do you keep working? You keep asking for stuff and showing gratitude?
Two different questions.
Okay.
Two different questions. You asked, how do you keep working? And you keep asking for stuff. So the second answer is easy. The second answer is yes, you keep asking for stuff. But how do you keep working? So when was the Siddur written? Okay, Shemona Esrei. When was Shemona Esrei written? When was the Gemara written?
Many years ago.
3,000 years ago?
No, 3,000 years ago we got the Torah.
Okay.
Many years after the Torah.
The Gemara was written around the year 500.
But the Siddur was written before that,
The Siddur was written before that. How many years before that?
1,000 years or so.
About 1,000 years before that. Siddur was written at the beginning of the second Beis Hamikdash. At the very beginning of the second Beis Hamikdash. Okay? That's a long time ago. It's almost 2,500 years ago. The Siddur was written. So how do you work on it? You have to get to know the Siddur. You have to work on tefillah. It doesn't just come naturally. You have to get to know the Siddur and understand what we're saying. And there are many great works in English explaining davening, explaining the Siddur. Rav Schwab on prayer is a great one. I'll just throw that out there.
Which prayer is that?
Rav Schwab on prayer. It's an Art Scroll book. Rav Schwab on prayer.
But you know what? You can ask and you can have lots of emunah, but sometimes the answer is no. That when you say Hashem answers, that doesn't mean he gives us everything we want.
Correct. That's a different story. That's a
Right.
different talk.
But
Okay.
you still have emunah no matter what. Even if he says no, you keep on with the emunah. You don't just say, well, you didn't